Psalms 37, verses 4 to 7 says, "Delight yourself also in the Lord, and he shall give you the desires of your heart. Commit your way unto the Lord, trust in him, and he shall bring your desires to pass. He shall bring your righteousness up, and it will shine as the light, your judgment as the light of the midday sun." Guys, when you hope, when you have love in you, even the desires inside of your heart will come to pass. Let's talk hope, which you see here, the symbol on Superman's chest. We hope for the best for this movie in its box office and also in its message sweeping to the world. It's a timely message and an important one. And right now, I just want to give you a fanboy moment because I saw the movie a sixth time. And this moment really stole the show for me. Where the Flash, he takes off with a lot of speed. And Wonder Woman, Aquaman, Cyborg, they're trying to restrain Superman. They're trying to restrain Superman. And Superman is holding them all at bay. And the Flash, he takes off and he's running around behind Superman, possibly to disrupt him. And Superman's eye starts following the Flash. And this is just priceless right here. You know, I did this in another video, but still, I just had to cover this. But hope, the symbol on Superman's chest, that is one of the most awesome things about this movie. You will leave this movie feeling hopeful because all that has been played up in this movie is hope. But not the empty, superficial hope that we have seen in a number of comic book movies in the past. This hope is very meaningful because it's hope in spite of the immense darkness of this world. And they really took time to paint that picture in this movie. This was not a funny movie. It was very serious. Real world issues. A lot of comic book movies, yes, the heroes, the protagonists, they're going up against a challenge and they fail a little bit. And it looks, they try to make this quasi-establishment where, their hope looks like it's going away. And then they come back and save the day. This movie is different. And I want to highlight a couple things about this movie. I will be doing a spoiler discussion in a hangout in a couple minutes from now. But I just wanted to basically give a synopsis of this group, this team, this Justice League, and how they came together. Because it's very important to understand certain things. And to be able to do that, we have to talk about Superman, his return, and the conflict between Batman and Wonder Woman over him coming back. And I thought this is another pivotal piece because in the progress forward, sometimes there are rifts and conflicts between us. In this movie right now, there's a big conflict going on of whether it's Snyder's film and how much interference did WB have in it, and did Joss Whedon destroy the film, and all these kinds of really petty conflicts. But they're not really meaningful conflicts, but they're important to move forward. And we see Wonder Woman holds the point of view that the technology to bring back Superman, it doesn't have a soul. And she's saying that technology can be used for good or for evil, but it's really the hearts of men which determine which direction it goes. And she said it was a risk to bring back Superman. And Aquaman, he was in full agreement with her on that point. Okay? Now what's interesting is that there are some also side characters we didn't mention, and they are pivotal to this piece. And that one of the side characters is Alfred, and the other side character is Lois Lane. They're not major players in terms of the story being about them, but they are important characters that we must pay attention to. Alfred is like Batman's conscience in a way. He speaks to Batman's conscience all the time. And it was very interesting to listen to how Alfred was actually arguing along the lines of what Wonder Woman was arguing. First of all, in Batman's argument, while they were busy talking about Wonder Woman, Batman intervenes and says, "We are not enough. All of us are not going to our full capabilities." And he speaks about something which shows me how logical and still straightforward, as much as Batman's a little crazy, how logical and straightforward, and he cuts to the chase on every moment. And that's what makes Batman good. If he's got a lead, he's going to make the decisions, the hard ones. And he says this. His statement is, "We are not enough." And we're holding back. But we don't have time to hold back because Steppenwolf's not holding back. We have to use Steppenwolf's weapon against him, which is that mother box. And we have to bring back Superman. And for the first time, Cyborg, while he didn't agree with how Batman was conducting himself, and he clearly stated that, he crunched the cold hard facts, the numbers, and he realized that the numbers support what Batman is saying about Superman coming back, that they could bring him back. And so Cyborg had to agree with Batman, but based on logic and not based on Batman's attitude, which I thought very interesting. And because Batman got Cyborg on his side, understand that Wonder Woman was not for this at all. She was not for the bringing back of Superman. Aquaman agreed, and he was not for it. The Flash was undecided. He was afraid. He was like, is this going to be like a good thing, or is this going to be like a horrific thing where Superman turns out to be horrible? And in their dispute, notice that Batman and Wonder Woman, they don't agree. Not only that, but Batman has hurt Wonder Woman's feelings, and she's not really on board with what he's doing at all. Okay? And then Alfred comes as the second voice of reasoning, and he says, well, that was short. In other words, the league that they were trying to form seems to have been broken up. And even though Cyborg agrees with Batman, they seem to be fractioned. So one thing about coming together is you're going to have dissonance between you. You're going to have infighting. You're going to have squabbling over what's next to be done. And we see that there. And Wonder Woman's at odds with Batman all the way through till Superman was resurrected. She was at odds with him. In fact, Alfred emphasizes and argues for Wonder Woman. So we have Aquaman, who's on Wonder Woman's side, Alfred's who's on Wonder Woman's side, okay? And we only have Cyborg, who's on Batman's side. All right? Now, it gets really interesting because the Flash, he's undecided. He doesn't know. He's like, I don't know about this. I don't know. Alfred starts to speak to Batman next. And Alfred is speaking about the fact that you have everything you need. You don't need Superman. So he's trying to argue the case that Diana has been arguing, which is you don't need Superman. And he was saying, why did you pick a fight with Diana? And then he goes on to say, well, you know, I was pushing her and she didn't wipe me out. She could have wiped me out. I was pushing her to wipe me out and she didn't do it. And it's interesting, but he does not actually go along with Alfred. He changes the subject and he starts speaking about we're going to need a stronger signal for backup. And Alfred's like, why are you trying to avoid the issue of leadership? You have a team. And Batman says, well, we need to bring in the big guns. Diana's right. We need to bring in the big guns. And he's like, but you have the big guns, which are all these people around you. And Bruce Wayne, or Batman, Bruce Wayne, I would say, here speaking, says Superman was, he's more capable, he's stronger than I am. I think he said something about stronger. Superman's strength, I think he begins. Superman's strength, that's what he says. And Alfred counters him immediately. It has nothing to do with strength and what powers you have. And Batman says, but Superman's strength is that he's more human than I am. And Alfred could not answer that. Batman is logical. He's analytical. Which is why Cyborg takes to him and agrees with him after he crunches the numbers. He's analytical. He's technical. He's logical. And he doesn't waste time on emotions. And Batman cut to the chase, and he said, Superman's more human than I am. Now, a lot of people have different perceptions of Batman based on what he says here. Some people say, well, he doesn't have confidence in himself. No, Batman is a realist. Batman started pulling this team together because he realized he was not enough to face this threat. And he asked Diana to help him pull together the team, and he was gathering information all the while along. And Diana went her way, and he went his way. But Diana came back to him. And he's a realist. He realizes the challenge he's up against. Steppenwolf. He's seen Steppenwolf face to face down in that tunnel. And he realizes this is going to take more. And when he speaks to Alfred, Alfred could not answer him. He says, Superman is more human than I am. And then he explains how. He says he gets a job. He works amongst the common man. He falls in love and has a relationship, and he's ready to get married. With all that power at his disposal, he chooses to be amongst human beings. Now that statement, Superman's more human than I am, for those of you who are interested, John King and Company, about Symmetry with Zack Snyder films, you must recall in BVS, Batman with the spear over Superman, his boot on his throat, when he says these words, "You're not a god. You're not even a man." Now listen to Bruce Wayne, who's now sparked to life. And Bruce Wayne says these words, "He's more human than I am. He had a job. He lived among people. He had a relationship. In spite of all that power." That acknowledges him as a god and acknowledges him as human. Not only human, but more human than Batman was. Batman did not know how to identify with, relate with humanity, so he put on a mask. He used his wealth and power and leverage to carry out his crusade of fear. Towards bad people, of course, but still. Whereas Superman, having all the power in the world, chose to live amongst men, to integrate his life in with them. Batman is not integrated into society. Bruce Wayne is not integrated into society. But Superman is. But Kal-El is. And he's that beacon of hope to the world. And Superman saw that. And he wanted to know why Diana, why is she having all those attributes, was not. She's like Batman. She recluses herself into the shadows. But she comes out when needed. And yet she has everything Batman doesn't have. She's inspirational. She's transformative to anyone she meets. Their lives are changed. And she can fight. And she's hopeful. So why is she in the shadows? And that's the thing Batman highlighted to Diana. When Diana said, "I know you feel guilty about bringing Superman back, but it wasn't your fault, Bruce." And Bruce says, "Did Steve Trevor tell you that?" And it cut her to the core because he challenged her. Like he challenged her that day with those photographs, saying, "This picture is not of you, it is you. Who are you?" See, he came to the same question, which is why she's called Wonder Woman, of course, because it makes you wonder. Even the terrorists made him wonder. But the beauty of the film is the fact that Batman understands his shortcomings. He's able to see himself more clearly. And Bruce Wayne is able to point to that hope that's burning within him, which is symbolized by Superman. And he says to Alfred, the world needs Superman, and the team needs Clark. And that is a powerful, powerful, powerful thing he said. Because in essence, he's saying the world needs hope. And us, the team, we need human hope. Hope for humanity. That's why he said Clark. And he always calls Clark Clark. See, there was a big dispute about bringing back hope. That leads to us. We are people. You and I. We come from different backgrounds. And right now there's a debate over hope that this film brings. And the debate is very simple. Should we highlight this version of hope? Or should we not? Is this version of hope representing really a Frankenstein monster that will bring horror and terror to those who watch this film? Because it promises a Marvel-filled future, candy-like soft-core way of looking at movies. Loss of imagery and loss of realism, loss of the seriousness of characters. Or is this going to be one in which we are going to be glad and filled with hope in the future? And the answer is, of course, it could be one or the other. Because see, when Superman came back and the Flash was fully on board and he volunteered his help to run and charge up the mother box just enough to wake it up so that it can do its thing on Superman. Cyborg was on board. The Flash was on board. Aquaman was saying, I think this is a bad idea. Diana's right. It seemed as if Alfred was right. Diana was right. Aquaman was right. And they brought back Superman. And Superman was everything that the Flash feared he was. Diana was right. Bringing him back left him hollow, without a soul, and confused. But Batman listened to Diana. He didn't dismiss everything she said. And his backup plan involved heart. It involved soul. It involved humanity. Connecting Superman back to his humanity, to his heart. And when Batman was injured and Diana was taking care of his hand, because Diana's intuitively, you can tell she has love in her heart, and she's intuitively a nurturing person. And Batman's a young pup compared to her. She's ancient. She's very, very old. She's seen it all. And so on seeing him hobble away, after he has led as much as he could, and tried to take care of the team as much as he knew how. Not a very sensitive guy. Even though he has a sensitive heart, he doesn't show it. And he hobbles away, injured, broken, in pain. Grits his teeth, takes care of his injuries. And she sees him and she says, "Let me." She snaps his hand back in position. But while she's doing that, she's hearing him and his heart as he speaks about the fact that he was willing to make the trade with Superman to ensure that that hope stayed. The hope that burns within him, that the world would experience that. Because when Superman came back, he held Batman's head like a vice in his hands, about to crush his skull. And he watched him straight in his eye. And you could see the fear in Batman's eyes as he stared the very thing that he was trying to eradicate before because he was afraid of it in his eyes. His greatest nightmare. You remember the nightmare scene where he was face to face with Superman and Superman punched a hole in his chest? Remember that dream? Well, the dream became the nightmare reality. Superman was staring down at his face, about to kill him. And he was going to kill him. And nothing was going to stop him. But Alfred brought Lois Lane just in time. She's always there just in time. And because of this dispute over Superman, in which Aquaman agreed, all the way through Aquaman was in agreement. In fact, after Superman left, Aquaman was still angry. Because it seems as if the symbol of hope is not there to help them. They're still on their own. And they've lost the mother box. So Aquaman was frustrated. Cyborg, he blamed Cyborg for what happened. And Wonder Woman was the peacemaker. Batman was trying to work with Aquaman. And the Flash, like a little puppy, he just needs to, he needs food. They didn't succeed once they brought back Superman. Things didn't work as planned. They still had to face the challenge alone. But Batman hoped, in spite of his shortcomings. And Wonder Woman was smart enough to understand and to give things time, like she did with Cyborg. And so, Wonder Woman seemed to still be right, in spite of everything. And they tried to figure out a way. She eggs Cyborg on to try and track down Steppenwolf. And they do everything in their power as a team to find him and take him down. And it seems as though Superman's a no-show according to Aquaman, who still agrees with Wonder Woman that bringing back Superman was not a good idea. He's the guy that's rode with Wonder Woman all the way with this. And they still fight together, disagreement or not. And Aquaman does not care about Batman like that. And we see even later on, when Batman sacrificing his life, he's going to the nth degree to make sure he can take down the tower so that the team can have it easier. Because for him, it's a job. This is about a job. It's not about whether he likes everybody on the team. It doesn't matter. He said to Wonder Woman, he said, after this, you can disappear into the darkness. You could even dress up as a bat. I won't sue you. And I thought it's nice that he understands where she's coming from. And though they disagree, they can have empathy for one another. And in the world today, that's what we need. We can disagree on things, but we don't need to be vile to each other. Not for very long. We will scrap it out for a minute. But then we can come back together. And this film symbolized all of that. That's why the way how we are going about doing this as a team is to inspire the people. Because this film is inspirational in so many ways. Which character are you? Which personality are you? Are you a person who is sociable like the Flash? Friendly? Loving to make relationships and be part of a team, something bigger than yourself? Are you a loner like Aquaman? Someone who doesn't fit in anywhere, but you kind of crass with your mouth. You don't really edit things you say. Or are you someone who resents who you are, like Cyborg? And you feel like you've been dead a long time, but you have so many fantastic gifts. Or are you someone like Batman, thrust into leadership position? All your tendencies are to be alone and work by yourself, but you got to do this job of leading. Or are you a caring person who's intuitive, an inspirational person, but you're afraid to go into the spotlight like Wonder Woman? You're all about heart and hope, but you're afraid to step out of the shadows. So, this controversy went on, even though there was some healing. Wonder Woman didn't want to talk to Batman before that. She was like, save it, before they resurrected Superman. And when they resurrected Superman and Batman she saw the challenge it was and what Batman was willing to sacrifice for that belief that he had. She came back on board and was trying to help him. And it's interesting that the payoff for Batman and what he believed happened at the very last moment, when there was no bit of hope to beat Steppenwolf and overthrow him. That is when Superman showed up. Which is why I can't fault Batman for smiling, because he didn't expect Superman to show. He was hoping he would show, but would it be too late? And that's the same thing with this film. You got to hope, guys, and hope will build your faith and your belief. It's not too late, guys, no matter how late it looks. And that's why we need to rally behind this film. Because Superman, when he came back, we saw the potential for him to be a force for good. But when he returned to the battle against Steppenwolf, man, was he a force. And he inspired the whole team. He inspired Aquaman to fight harder against Steppenwolf and actually start to engage him really well. Wonder Woman to deal that death blow to his battle axe. And Cyborg to pull the mother boxes apart and actually desire to live. And of course, the Flash was inspired from the moment he saw Superman on those steps. He smiled. And while it was a Pet Sematary moment, the Flash really was excited when Superman started racing him, and it pushed the Flash to want to run faster. It inspired him to want to run faster, which is what you were seeing at the end of the movie. And then he wanted to race Superman to see how much faster he had become. See, guys, Superman inspired them all, and Batman was proven to be correct. But let me say, we need to listen to the constructive criticism each other gives, because the truth is, Superman coming back was true about what Diana said about him and true about what Batman said about him. The world did need Superman and the team did need Clark, but it doesn't mean they didn't need him, Bruce Wayne, as well. They needed each other. However, Diana was right. Superman, coming back without a soul, needed to know his humanity. And Batman took her advice. And by having Lois Lane there to focus him back into his humanity and his mother, Superman was centered once again and focused. And I enjoyed this movie because it says to you and me that this movie is a combination of some of the criticisms that some of the people who criticize this movie say about it, which would be constructive and informative to Warner Brothers. At the same time, it's so much more, and its potential is what Batman saw in it. In other words, this movie can be a blueprint for Warner Brothers to rip the soul out of the DCEU, water it down, and make it a comedy fest. There is that potential for it. this crossover between two different directors, Joss Whedon and Zack Snyder, Danny Elfman, Junkie XL getting kicked off the team, Chris Terrio, and some of Joss Whedon, it has the potential to go south, have no soul, have no heart, be something in which they wash down comic book movies that we've seen in the DCEU. There is that potential. If we don't listen and we don't have a Lois Lane, something to connect this movie to its humanity. The Lois Lane in this case is Zack Snyder. They need to keep Zack Snyder on the DCEU all the time. However, Zack Snyder is in this movie, which is why this movie has all the potential of goodness for humanity. And that's why this movie, me pretending to be Batman, the guy who brings the team together, I believe this movie will eventually win out, even if it's the last moment. And that's why we need it to do well at the box office. Because everything it symbolizes and everything it holds is good. Maybe people didn't plan for it to be that way, but it worked out that way. Now, who on my team is the Flash? Who on my team is Cyborg? Who on my team is Superman? Who on my team is Wonder Woman? And who on my team is Aquaman? Guys, this is your moment. Take on your roles. And let's show them that this movie is not just something that happened on the film screen. It's more than that. And it can start a movement. Join the group Justice League Unite. Share this video with your friends. Realize the depth behind these characters and that they actually symbolize different personalities in the world today. You, me, the others. Let's get ready. And let's share the light of this film to the rest of the world, which is hope. Hope. Now I want to share with you guys one more thing. So, you know this Justice League poster, Unite the League. It's really awesome. It's dope. Well, here it is again. Really awesome and dope. But this is actually, these are not actual Justice League people. These are actually Justice League figures, life-size figures. And here is Aquaman. Really looks like Jason Momoa. He did a pretty good job of this. And the company that actually does these figures, their name is Muckle Mannequins. Muckle Mannequins. Here's Batman. Bruce Wayne. There you go. Muckle Mannequins. Really look good, man. Here he is in the tactical suit. Looks very much like Ben Affleck, man. Love this tactical suit. Look at this thing. Whew, it's impressive stuff. Here's Cyborg. Let's have a closer look at him. Muckle Mannequins. Yeah, you gotta love Cyborg. And the CGI on Cyborg was on point in the movie. I mean, on point. Ezra Miller's Flash. He zoomed in. Muckle Mannequins. Yeah, baby. See, MM. It's Muckle Mannequins. Henry Cavill's Superman. Oh, that looks like Henry Cavill. Look at that. Look at that thing. Ah. Isn't that something? I'm saying, dude. I'm saying. We got Wonder Woman. Gal Gadot, baby. From afar, it looks more like her. And can move a little bit. The arms and stuff can move a little bit. Woohoo! Yeah. Here they all are together. Love it. I love it, 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 baby. Woohoo! Justice League, baby. The Justice League. And I know if you touch up those mannequins a bit, you can actually get it to the absolute, how it actually looks, its absolute appearance. So I wanted to share that with you guys, a fanboy moment. Hope you guys enjoyed this video. And remember, love, joy, peace, hope, faith. These are powerful things, man. You guys have a great one.